Hello and welcome to this video of channel stuffing analysis using Tableau for internal audit. Now today we are looking at Superstore sales data for previous years across different regions and sales managers within our company. Now we're doing this analysis because management and compensation staff are deciding who gets what year-end performance bonuses. They've identified a few sales managers, but they would like the company's audit staff, i.e. me, to take a look at the data for these managers and then to look for potential signs of fraud before they make those bonuses official. In the example we're going to walk through today, we are looking for signs of channel stuffing. Channel stuffing is illegal, and it is when salespeople or organizations artificially inflate sales or shipments for the sake of hitting targets. Now, it often stems from the pressure of meeting sales targets. Now, one sign of channel stuffing is when a sale is made to a distributor in the last 2 months of one year and then returned in the first 2 months of the next year. So, that kind of behavior is what we are going to look for today. Now, first thing I'll do is connect to the data source that sales managers or sales management and compensation have sent over to me. Thankfully, they sent me a nice, clean Excel file. So once I connect to that and review it, I can make sure I have all the fields that I need. All right, looks good. Now, first things first, let's get acquainted with the data. Okay, we have almost 50,000 records here. And let's see how many managers we have. Okay, so we have 12 rows, meaning we have 12 managers in this particular data set. And I'll check how many regions we're spread across. Okay, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio between region and regional manager. Okay, so we have 12 regions as well. Let's split this up by order date, see how many years we have in the data. Okay, we have 4 years in the data. The year and regional manager with the least number of records is Nicole Hansen in 2011, it looks like. But then we can also get up to over 3,000. So how are we going to approach this audit and find specific instances of potential channel stuffing? Well, surprisingly, a lot of organizations still base who they audit off of really arbitrary reasons. For example, they might say, you know what, we haven't audited this department in years, or we've never audited this department. Or they might just decide to pick a couple of regions or regional managers randomly. And why would they do that? Well, because we have, again, almost 50,000 rows of data here, and it would be really time-consuming to go over each row of data. But you know what? Here, we're going to show a different way. We'll start by looking at all of our data and then drilling down into the parts that, based on my professional opinion, present the highest risk. So let's jump in and just start asking questions here. So first of all, I'm curious about how much each of my regional managers made in sales. Okay, so at the low end, we have Nicole Hansen with not quite $70,000. And then up here, Anna Andreotti looks like she's doing very well at almost $3 million. But what's the average? Okay, so average is over $990,000 in sales. Okay, so of all sales made, how many were returned? Well, if we look over here at our dimensions, we can see that one of our fields flags whether or not an order was returned. Okay, so we can see our return sales here in orange. And it looks like Jack LeBron had the most return sales, followed by Shirley Daniels, and then Anna Andreotti. And like I said earlier, what we're looking for here is when a sale was made to a distributor in the last 2 months of one year and then returned in the first 2 months of the next year. So we're looking for really suspicious order and return dates. Now, before they sent the data over to me, it looks like sales management and compensation actually made a field for me that indicates if an order had a suspicious order and return date. So we can actually use this. We'll grab it and put it on color. Okay, so we have 3 different values in this field, true, false, or null. Now true in red, that just means that an order was returned and the order and return dates are suspicious. False in orange means that an order was returned but the dates were not suspicious, and null means that an order was not returned. We have pretty bold colors here, but I only want anything with this value of true to stand out. So I'm going to edit my colors. And there you go. Right away, I can see that Jack LeBron has by far the highest share of sales with suspicious order and return dates. Now, it's a little bit difficult to see who else had suspicious return dates. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate this sheet and then keep only those suspicious orders. Okay, so looks like all but 2 of my managers had sales that were returned and were suspicious, but Jack LeBron is just blowing everybody else out of the park with his suspicious returns. Okay, so the overall average here is almost $16,000, but Mr. LeBron had over $112,000 in suspicious returns. So not looking too good right now. Now let's take a quick step back, and I want to look at how overall sales compared with return sales over time. Now we start out just seeing our sales, and it looks like it's been increasing, or it was increasing between 2011 and 2014, which is great. Let's add in returned here. Okay, so generally returned does not have too much, it does not account for too much of return or of overall sales. Let's drill down even more. Get down to the month level. Okay, this is really interesting. So we pretty much always see a spike up here in December. Now I just want to see the average line for my sales. I can see that that average has been going up. But let's change the label to show us the actual number here. And last thing I want to do is clean up the formatting a little bit. We don't need these decimal places really. There you go. Okay, so this timeline is really interesting to me, but next thing I want to do is drill down into this timeline manager by manager. So I want to marry all of these together. And I'm going to do that on a dashboard. So let's bring out all sales, our timeline. Let's do suspicious returns as well. And then let's do some quick formatting here. Okay, so like I said, I would like to go manager by manager. I'm going to do that just by using some dashboard actions. So I'll use this first guy as a filter. And now as I click through, it updates my timeline at the bottom here. Okay, so looking at Jack LeBron, he had some crazy, crazy high rates of return in his Decembers, or for orders that were made in December. Now, as I click into his returns with suspicious order dates, this updates and shows me the annual average for his suspicious returns. And it never falls below $8,000. Let's see what it looks like over here. On the suspicious returns bar chart, it's a little easier for me to click into the red for each of our managers. So I'll use this as a filter, but I only wanted to apply it to our timeline. Let's make that change really quickly. We want it to run from suspicious returns when we click on it, and we only want it to update the timeline. Perfect. Okay, so Jack LeBron. His annual average goes between $8,000 and over $25,000. You look at the person with the next most suspicious returns, and he never exceeds $3,000. And as we go down the list, again, we're never seeing anybody exceed $3,000 for their annual average of suspicious returns. So Jack is definitely an outlier here. Okay, now I would really like to be able to see specific transactions. So I'm going to build out a worksheet that's going to let us do that. Okay, unique identifier for our orders is obviously order ID. I would also like to see the customer name, as well as order dates. And then a breakdown of the products they purchased, as well as the sales would be nice. And let's sort this by descending sales. Now, what I want to do is go from my channel stuffing analysis directly into those details. So for example, when I see that Jack LeBron is looking suspicious, I want to go directly to those suspicious transactions. So I'm going to put that details worksheet onto a dashboard. And let's jump back over to it just so we can flag each order. with whether or not it had suspicious dates. Okay, so we have our two dashboards created here. Now let's set up that functionality, that interactivity that I was talking about. I'll call this Jump to Details. And like I said, when I click on anything in Channel Stuffing Analysis, I want to see those transaction details. So let's hit OK and test that out. I'm looking at only Jack LeBron suspicious returns, jumping to those details. And right away, I can see a rundown of all of his suspicious transactions. Now, a few are really, really small, maybe not things that we're concerned about. But up here at the top, we have some crazy high suspicious transactions. And they were made always in December. And we have a few others that are in the thousands. These top four are really concerning to me. We might want to just grab these ones as well. So there are a few things I could do at this point. I can export the data out and then send it over for further investigation. Or I could just create a presentation within Tableau. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use a story point here just to walk through the insights that I got and how I got to them. So first, just start out showing overall sales broken down by whether or not the orders are suspicious or the returns were suspicious. And I'll make a little caption here to let people know what I'm trying to get them to focus on. Okay, we've established our first point. Now let's point out the fact that he also has the most suspicious returns. So far, I've just been using worksheets in this story point, but I'm going to bring this dashboard in as well. And you know what? I might want to clean it up a little bit. Let's just have suspicious returns over the timeline. We'll take out all sales. And that looks a little bit better for me. Now this time I'm going to annotate directly on the view itself. And again, I just keep on highlighting what I want them to look at. Really draw their attention here. Okay, now the last point I'm going to do is grab our transaction details. And then indicate the specific transactions that I have flagged. All right. So our analysis is good to go, and we are ready to share it. And I'm really happy with what I've done in the past 20 or so minutes. So to wrap up, if you remember, we started with almost 50,000 rows of data. And that data is associated with 12 regional managers all around the world. In just 20 or so minutes, we explored our data, we spotted the riskiest elements, and then we identified a few really specific transactions for sales leadership to further investigate. Now, what I want to point out here, our recommendations are not based on arbitrary or random selections, but on a focused, efficient, and risk-based analysis. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.